Alright everybody, in this video we're going to be going through this unboxing and showing you guys this Solo Stove to see if it truly is something you should be looking at taking out camping with you, so stay tuned. Alright everybody, welcome to another episode of Unique Adventures. So on this episode we did say we're going over our new purchase. We've got here a Solo Stove. This is the Bonfire Edition. And we're going to be going through the setup, showing you guys how it works, and then going through a trial run on that to show you guys on whether or not something like this may be good for you to bring to a campground or a campsite. Most typical campsites have, you know, places for you to already do fire with fire rings and stuff like that, but this thing takes it to another level. It's supposed to help with cleaner burning and less smoke, and making it a little bit more efficient with you know, heating up the area that you're trying to heat. So it might be a good option. It is a little bit big. This one here, this is the Bonfire Edition, so it's pretty good size. I'd say it's probably about 2.5 feet by 2.5 feet, this box, and you would probably have to tote it around. But let's go ahead and take this thing out and show you guys kind of how to set it up and what it's all about. Alright, so we're going to take this thing out of the box here. The directions are actually on the back here. They keep it really simple here. We're going to go over these just real quick. First thing is to unleash the beast. Have somebody help you take this guy out of the box. Hopefully I'll be able to do that myself. There's a ring in here. We flip it and we start the fire. I guess that's all we're going to do with that. So let's go ahead and open this thing up, show you guys what we got in the box. So this guy is actually 19.5 inches around, 14 inches tall, coming in at about 20 pounds. And how this thing actually works is it's got a dual chamber on the inside, and it actually helps circulate the air off the bottom to the top, maximizing efficiency. And this thing, well, there's the ring. Stick that out. Now I see why they say to have two people. Okay, let's get this out of the way. Okay, so now we got everything open. You got yourself your directions. You definitely do want to make sure that you get the ring put on right. It actually came with this cover bag thing, and that's actually really cool because I didn't think it was going to come with that, so right on. So as you can see in the bottom of this thing, it's got a lot of holes in here to allow for a lot of circulation and ventilation up here and then through all these holes up here, which is awesome. And when you set this thing up, you're supposed to set it up like this. You do not want to set this thing upside down, I believe is what it said. Yes. Want to make sure I'm right. So setting it up like that, and you pretty much just load it in there, and that's pretty much it. So we're going to go ahead and set this thing up. We're going to do our fire starting method. If you haven't seen that yet, we're going to link the video above here to let you guys know one of the easiest ways to actually start a fire. So we're going to go ahead and get that going. So we got our Solo Stove all set up here, got our wood. Let's go ahead and give this thing a light. Paraffin cubes for the win. And we'll see what that does here in the next couple minutes. So alright, we've made it back home. We weren't able to film the rest of the video at the campground. The weather got really bad that night, and the next day we just had to bomb back home. So in retrospect, let's talk about kind of our experience so far with the Solo Stove. It worked out really, really good. We got that fire started, and once we got that thing started, it did exactly what it said it was going to do. It created some really clean burning. It also created almost a smokeless fire. and we didn't really feel like we were getting inundated with smoke, which was a really good thing. And that was one of the main reasons why we wanted to pick this thing up and to be able to take it around with us a little bit, was for those reasons. And then one of the other things that this thing definitely does is it creates a ton of heat. We were fueling this thing up, and we had this thing loaded up with wood, and we had fire at some point in time, probably about 3 feet maybe above the fire. We may have had too much wood in there when we were burning, but the intensity of the heat that was coming off of this thing, like, you couldn't be within, you know, maybe 1.5 to 2 feet of it. It was just too hot. So it radiates that heat really well, that a conventional fire pit, whether you have it at home or whether you're sitting at a local campground, it just isn't going to supply that radiant type of heat, and this thing definitely does that. And obviously you want to make sure you don't want that fire up that high. We eventually got it simmered down to where, you know, it was just right about that level, right above the ring there, and after that it was pretty good. Some of the cons of the Solo Stove is, one, when this thing is getting ready to die down at night and you're like, I'm ready to shut it down, it's not as easy of a process as you would think. You can't do what you would do with a conventional fire with this fire pit. So you couldn't just dump a bunch of water on this thing and then smolder it out and then it's all good, you can go back in. You actually have to let this thing completely burn out. If you don't, and you actually put water and stuff in here, you will end up with a goopy mess in the bottom of your Solo Stove, and it will be almost impossible to clean out just because of the way the grates are set up in there. So you definitely don't want to do that. So you want to plan when you're ready to retire your fire. When you're ready to retire your fire, you need to think a little bit ahead of that. Stop putting fuel in it and start letting it burn down on its own, getting to the point where there's almost just nothing left in there, and it will eventually burn out. Now, one of the things you can do to kind of make this process happen faster is, once you don't have any flames and you're just sitting with coals, what you can do is, I believe Solo Stove sells a cover for this, like a stainless piece that goes over and then just snuffs the fire out, and that will make it extinguish a lot faster. But there was some time, like, we had to watch this thing for, I don't know, probably a good 2 to 2.5 hours after we decided we were going to be done. And mind you, we were loading this thing full of wood, so we probably could have been a little bit better about not filling it up there towards the end, but we literally had to watch all this stuff die down, and it took a while, and it wasn't extremely warm outside. I figure it would go a lot faster, but it didn't, so that's just something you got to look out for. The other thing, if you like this shiny stainless color that this thing starts out at, it probably isn't going to stay that way. We've just used this thing once or twice, 2 times, and you can see on here it's already starting to get kind of like a bronze tinge to it, and I don't think that will come back. I think that's just part of its natural, you know, as it's getting hot and warming up, that it's just going to have that bronzish kind of color, which for us, it's not really a deal breaker, but you definitely want to know that if you're trying to use this as kind of like a showpiece out on your patio, and you're thinking everything is going to stay stainless and it's going to discolor as you use it. So just something to be mindful of. Now, the question of the day is, would I actually repurchase this thing? Yes, I would. Is this something I will take with me on every RV camping trip? No, it will not be. It is very bulky to try and bring on individual trips. So we'll bring it on occasion if we're going to be close to home, because it does take up a large footprint of your packing space. If you pack really tight, you may not have a lot of room for this thing. Definitely, if we're going on a week-long adventure and we're going out of state or something, it's definitely not coming with us. Is this a good unit for at home? Absolutely, it's a good unit for at home. We'll provide you some great fires in that. And if you're at local campgrounds and you're just coming out for the weekend or whatnot, definitely I would say this is something strong to bring out to give you that great fire. Definitely a great heat source and to be able to radiate that heat outside of the Solo Stove, but definitely not if you were, going for an extended amount of time. So that will wrap up what we're talking about here. Drop us a comment, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let us know, do you have one of these Solo Stoves? Do you have any questions? What do you like about it? What don't you like about it? Make sure you drop that in the comments here. Let us know kind of your thoughts on this thing. And we like it. We're going to continue to use it for our shorter trips and to take it out. It's definitely a great piece of equipment, and for $250 for a portable fire pit, it does a fairly good job. So make sure you hit that like button, make sure you're subscribed to our channel, and until then, we'll see you guys in the next adventure.